Well, along with my return, it seems that RWBY's returned with Volume 9. Oh, you know what that means. You want to talk about starting off this volume rough? It starts off stating that there was a story about a girl with problems. And then it's black screen for like 19 seconds. Yeah, no, it's not the only thing. This whole entire series at this point has problems. And it starts off with the trailer that we saw, a year ago, 2 years ago almost? Where you see Neo punching RWBY, which is rightfully deserved, as awful as RWBY has become within the most recent of volumes. Volume 7 and 8 especially. And while this is going on, you see Neo transform into Oscar, Yang, and Penny, which, well, it is funny to see Penny strangle RWBY. The thing of it is that it's not really necessary. Neo could just beat up RWBY by herself. So the question comes to mind,
Why?
seriously, why is Neo just beating the crap out of RWBY while transforming? It's really a terrible use of her illusions, when in reality, she can just do it without that happening. You know, when you want to do something like this, you want to make it like shock value, right? For example, a good way that this was used was in Full Metal Alchemist and Brotherhood, where Hugh's Deathstein, where Envy had transformed into Lieutenant Ross. He kind of knew something was up, though, especially when Ross, didn't have the mole under her eye. He caught onto that, and then transforming into his wife, realized something was up, right? But Neo just transforming on a whim while she's just beating up RWBY, it's dumb. It's pointless. There's no reason for it. It's just stupid for the sake of the plot, ladies and gentlemen. God, they're going to disrespect Neo yet again so miserably in this volume. I just know it. RWBY wakes up by hearing a voice, allegedly by some transcripts. It's apparently Penny. I mean, I don't know, but we'll see if it is. And she starts to think that she needs to go to this tree. So, as she's going through the forest, she's put in an endless cycle of walking in the same area as it keeps resetting her back. So, there's that. And then we reach the next problem. The stupid mouse. I hate this thing. I hate this mouse. So when RWBY meets this mouse, she obviously gives it the cheese that she pulled from the ground. And she's like, oh, well, if only you could help me. And then the mouse is like, oh, well, maybe I can. And then she freaks out, and so does the mouse. And she then tells the mouse her name. And the mouse doesn't even know what a name is. I'm not kidding. The mouse asked her if it was her purpose. Doesn't know what a name is.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
It was just bad. So then she asked about Blake and Yang. And when she says cat ears, kind of funny that the mouse reacts to a species name because, cats, the species, they're named cats. Freaks out. Apparently it knows what a name is, but it doesn't know what a name is. Bit of a contradiction there, huh? Yeah, peak RWBY writing right here, ladies and gentlemen. Expect more of this. Then RWBY's like, oh yeah, she's like, I should have known about the cats because I've seen the cartoons.
What are you? An idiot sandwich.
Leave it to RWBY to learn through cartoons and not the actual predator of a mouse being a cat. But whatever. But Weiss and Blake encounter each other off screen because apparently they just thought off screen was the best way to do it. But they find Blake's weapon and it's caught in these huge heap of vines. And so, I'm not even kidding, Weiss takes 2 slashes at the vines. She's immediately tired after taking only 2 slashes at these vines.
It'd be funny if it weren't so pathetic. No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.
Well, I guess since the show's action has been dubbed down and the characters have been nerfed to complete hell, I guess Weiss is really terrible at her job now. Because, oh man, just 2 slashes and she's exhausted. What is this? Oh man, are you that out of shape, Weiss? Like, Jesus. And then Blake tries to get her weapon. What I don't really understand within the scene is the voice acting. Like, then again, I could say that for the whole episode because it sounds very phoned in, but like, when you hear Weiss just doing the woohoo, it's so uninspired. Like, the voice acting in general is uninspired. But also what I don't understand is, why didn't they use their semblances? There's nothing in this stating that they can't use their semblances in this world. So, why don't they use their semblances? They then get captured by the mice. And the mice are like, oh, we're no longer going to be prey to anybody. Ah! Like, it's ridiculous. Well then, guess what? RWBY shows up with the stupid mouse, and then she saves the day because the mouse is friends with RWBY, so they're like, oh, humans are good! Oh, yay! Like, they just immediately change their minds without any question. Very NPC behavior coming from the mice. Like, there really is a lot of it. Also, how did they know Blake's weapon was Blake's weapon? See, that's something that I don't understand. But also, the stupid rat is following RWBY now. I hate this thing. Like, if you know me, 9 times out of 10, I don't typically like little animal creatures in a series. Not saying that they can't exist, but like Morgana from Persona 5, I don't like Morgana, personally. Happy from Fairy Tail, for example. He's okay at times, then he's insufferable at times to me. Plu from Rave, though, perfect. Love that dog. Then RWBY's group runs into what is known as the Jabberwocker. And this thing is searching around, making these weird statements, one-word statements, and then leave it to the mouse to give away their position.
Of course!
I'm serious. I hate that stupid mouse. I hate that thing. I hate it so much. I will say the design of the Jabberwocker doesn't look bad, though. It looks pretty okay. Looks alright, actually. So, I don't actually hate that design. It's pretty okay. Then a rock hits it in the back of the head, and it turns out that it's Yang, so the whole group's together, and they have the creature surrounded. You would think, maybe there's going to be a fight going on, right? Oh man, it's going to be amazing. Oh, and it runs off, because, yeah, that's what everybody was looking forward to, right? Very expected of modern RWBY. I don't think anybody's shocked to know that instead of an actual adrenaline-pumped fight like we used to get in the Monty era of RWBY. Yeah, no, just, it leaves. Bye. I don't think anybody's shocked about that. And then, Sister of the Year award goes to Yang, because her response to seeing RWBY is, damn it, you're not supposed to be here. I'm serious, that is actually what she says. And RWBY, she doesn't seem to really care that she just found Yang. It's pathetic. Man, it's pathetic. And then Blake, of course, oh god, Blake just jumps you. I'm tired of the bait, man. I'm tired of this crap. Like, it's so annoying. Like, the way that Blake reacts here is actually how RWBY should have reacted. I mean, like, if your sibling had disappeared or, you know, I think you would be thinking, oh man, they may have died or something. You would probably be the one jumping them. You know what I mean? Because that's what I'd be doing. Personal opinion. I'd jump them and give them the biggest hug ever to make sure, you know, they were okay. I would be so happy. Now, the writers are continuing to create forced tension because 3 times, this is the 3rd time in the episode at this point, 3 times now they've had characters ask Weiss, oh, well, what about, what happened after we fell? What happened? They're trying to hide that, the whole details, to create tension. And it's just bad. It's not good. It's forced tension. It's terrible, right? But it's RWBY. It's expected. And then RWBY finds out about Penny dying again, and she passes out. Now, this has already happened before. I don't know why this should be really a shock. And you could argue, well, Penny was her friend, and she cared about Penny. No, not really. If you see how she acts in Volume 8 to Penny, she treats Penny like garbage. She gaslights her throughout the whole volume. Like, she treats Penny like shit. I don't know why anybody would think she cares. And then we'll find out what happens whenever RWBY discovers that it was Jean that killed her. But you know, they're trying to hide that one too, create more tension. And then they try to make Blake the optimist. I think that's because they know that people hate Blake, and so they're trying to make her be the positive one for a change instead of the negative one. Because, you know, that's really going to make people like Blake, right? And then she says, guys, I think we're in a fairy tale. And then they just see the whole beautiful area spread out amongst them. Like, this entire area does not look good. And it's nothing against the animators, but by God, I feel like there could have been, like, it just looks like the old, like, 90s movie, like, 3D graphics they tried to do in the past, like, in 2D films and whatnot. Like, looks really bad. Then you have the intro, which I like some of the colors that they tried to use, although Yang and Jean's colors are very similar. And then Ruby's looks really good. But then you have the intro itself, and in the intro, which I don't care for the music, I'm going to be real with you. I really don't. They do have the door because it's Wonderland, and I'll get to how I feel about that in a moment. But then they try to do this whole, like, the characters have really become into their own, grown. Look, if you know RWBY characters, you know Team RWBY, they have regressed as characters. They have not developed. They have gone backwards. I mean, you could definitely see with Yang, she went from having bigger breasts to smaller breasts, as well as a awful personality, and RWBY being the cute, innocent character to becoming this monster terrorist that she actually turned into. Like, you know, if this was earned, it'd be great, but it's not. Like, it's animated well, but it's just not earned. Then, of course, you have the Alex character, which I'll get into in a moment, and RWBY is going to be the most depressed character in the whole entire arc, because depression's what we need, right, guys? We need a really sad story arc. Ugh. There's the blacksmith character. I don't think that's Jean. Some people think it's Jean. I don't think it is. And then the Red Queen and the Cheshire Cat and Alex again. And if you look within the scene where it's transitioning between areas, you can tell that RWBY is getting slower as the others are walking forward, becoming more depressed. This is going to be the RWBY depression arc because, oh man, this show needs more of that. God. It's going to be a story about her and Neo, clearly. This is going to be their character arc. And, of course, they have the Caterpillar, Jean. And this is the one thing, you know, some people are saying that it would be good without Jean in the episode. Here's the thing. I think Jean, as well as the rest of Team Juniper, I think that they should have been gone since Volume 5. And yes, their characters, all of them, have gotten worse as time has gone on. Jean being the absolute worst of the group, in my opinion. And I don't care to see him. If he died in this volume, I'd be happy because Jean has been wasted potential for a long time. And he had a lot of potential as a character. Garbage now. Probably the biggest cuck in the entire show. And then Alex herself, you see RWBY, see her, and it's like she turns around, she's like insane, which I think this is kind of playing into the idea of madness, like, you know, the Mad Hatter, because Neo right here is clearly implied to be like the Mad Hatter. That's the whole point of what this scene is. So there is that, and apparently more characters because, God, it's not as if RWBY's roster of characters needs to grow. For the love of God, stop, please. Don't add any more characters. You can't handle them already. These writers can't. Don't put any more in there. But yeah, Neo, this is going to be an arc for Neo. It's clearly obvious, and then of course they show the book, and here's the thing. When it comes to RWBY and fairy tales, they've been taking characters from fairy tales and kind of having their own spin on them, which is fine, but to transition into a world that is literally meant to be like Wonderland, a fairy tale itself, I don't like the idea of that. Then again, if there was one thing that many people know that I've been saying, I don't want to see them do Alice in Wonderland, and yeah, they've done the one thing I hope they wouldn't. I'll get more into that later, but this knight is probably going to be Jean. I'm going to tell you right now, this knight is more than likely Jean.
Disappointed!
And keep in mind, don't look too heavily into the openings because a lot of them will have red herrings in them, you know, and they'll do what you wouldn't expect. You know, like we've seen some things of fight scenes that wouldn't happen. Also, this Alex character, keep in mind, some people are trying to say that this is Neo's alternate persona. Alex is actually a character that was referenced in the Roman Holiday novel as a character that fell into the Wonderland first, and then that Neo really seemed to take a liking to the story. So, there is that. But I'm sure everybody's wondering at this point, what are my overall thoughts of the episode? It's fucking boring. It's actually the best way to sum it up. It is extraordinarily boring. They really spoiled a lot of the first episode with just the teasers they showed over, the past 2 years? You could literally just skip those, and you'd know the first quarter of the episode. Like, you wouldn't have missed anything at all. I mean, that's pretty bad. And the writing, clearly, it's not improved. It's still where it was. I mean, it's not good. Like, the best way to put this is, I didn't care. Like, watching this, yeah, I saw the problems, the writing and whatnot, sure, but overall, I don't care. Like, I don't feel anything. Like, you know it's really bad when you're sitting over and you're looking at something that you did care for at one time. And look, I still care about the first 3 volumes, because that was still within the Monty era, you know, even though Monty did die during the production of Volume 3. You know, I still like that part. I mean, is it the best thing I've ever watched in my life? No, of course not, but I still care about it. I still like that era of RWBY because that was peak RWBY. It was. And then anything post Volume 3, after the end of Volume 3, I don't consider any of that canon. I just see it as awful fan fiction. Like, you know, and it is really bad that when I was watching this, like, it's like, I guess Volume 7 is really where it broke me to just not care anymore. Like, yeah, I had unbridled hatred, you could say, because Volume 7 was, it's so garbage. And then, like, I just got to the point where I'm like, I just don't care. And, like, Volume 8 really continued that feeling. And now here I am, Volume 9, and it's bad when I don't even feel anything at all. Like, you know, even if you hate something, you're just like, hey, look, I fucking hate this, man. You know, like, because you're putting energy into it to go, it's worth my time to hate it. And a reason why you may feel that hatred is because it may have been something you loved at one time, and then you had stupid people take over and then ruin it. It's almost as if that's happening to Western entertainment in the modern day or something. Because it is. You know, and it sucks. I mean, you know, it sucks to see it happen. And RWBY's another case of that. You know, it's to this point to where you get more character development out of, you know, paint on a wall drawing than you do with what the writers do with the characters in RWBY now. And it really sucks when it gets to that point. And look, you would imagine, because a lot of people, myself including, had said maybe they should take a break from RWBY for like a year, 2 years to get their shit together. Yeah, well, clearly their shit's not together. And the writing was just, it wasn't good in this chapter. But like I said, it was boring. It wasn't enticing. It wasn't something to get you hooked in. Like, you could basically just skip this episode and be like, I didn't really miss anything, because nothing really happened. I mean, yeah, the whole group's together again, and now they have a stupid mouse with them, but the conflict wasn't really a conflict. It was solved within just a matter of seconds. Like, the mice capturing Weiss and Blake, just solved by, oh, look, RWBY's friends with your stupid mouse friend. Oh, yay, they're all good guys. Like, no conflict. You know, the Jabberwocker, you know, Yang throws a rock at it, and they all corner it, and then it just runs off. Yay, problem solved. Like, there's no tension. There's no actual tension, aside from them forcing the tension of what happened after they fell, and then, you know, John, you know, they keeping that he killed Penny from RWBY. Like, that's, I mean, it's not really anything. Like, you know, it's just going to be basically forced drama when they get to that point, and yeah, like, however they're going to handle it. But even then, I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I just kind of see it as however RWBY's going to respond to it. You know, like, whatever. I guess that's how I feel about it, because I'm just like, man, like, I don't care. Like, it's that bad. But yeah, overall, it's just boring. And I don't think anybody's really missing out on anything by not watching this chapter, because it's just uneventful and it just feels like filler. But anyways, hopefully you all enjoyed this review and my thoughts on it. And I'll get to the next chapter sometime next week. Gonna get back to regular content. Got a big video planned for today. So take care of yourselves, everyone. I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.